Oh my gosh, I just found the most elusive, the most sought after thrift item in the whole entire world. I am literally the luckiest girl in the world. I have searched for so long and literally passed up 50 million of those wide leg Adidas track pants because that's just not the fit I wanted. I wanted the skinny leg, the legging. But here on Blueprint DIY, we don't have to depend on luck because we can remake our clothes to be anything we want them to be, right? Yes, I'm Angelina and that's exactly what we're gonna do. This is a full step-by-step tutorial that hopefully anybody with basic sewing skills can follow. And if you're interested in more full step-by-step tutorials, definitely subscribe and hit that join button to become a Team Renegade member, and you'll get full tutorials just like this and behind the scenes footage. All right, let's get started.
Okay, I'm actually going to show you how to do this on a pair of green track pants that used to be my husband's when he was in high school. I found them after he passed away, so this project is kind of special for me. But I have done this on actual Adidas pants, so rest assured that this tutorial will work for any of those track pants that have stripes down the sides. Okay, I always start a project off by trying on the item to figure out how much it needs to be taken in. The easiest way to do this is to try them on inside out. This pair is too big in the waist as well, so I'm going to pinch and add a pin at the front and back middle seam. This way, I'll be taking them in at the waist without bothering the stripes on the side. When I sew these, my goal is to start where the pin is and then slowly taper when I get closer down to the crotch. I'm also going to take out about an inch out of the inner leg seam. Yours may be less or more than an inch depending on how wide the pants leg is and how much you want to take them in. You can add a pin at the bottom of the leg while you have them on to find out how much. But I just wanted to do an inch as a first test stitch. Okay, let's go to the sewing machine and start with the waistband. If you're nervous about sewing and think you'll need to take it apart a number of times before you get it right, try loosening your thread tension and increasing your stitch length a bit so that the stitches will come out easily if you need to take it apart. Then, when you get your pants just right, you can go back and do tight stitches right over. If you need help with threading your machine, I do have a tutorial on that linked above as well. As we start sewing, we don't want to forget to backstitch at the top of the waistband so that the stitch doesn't start to open up when we wear the pants. And make sure that the top of the waistband is lined up as well. As I said before, the stitch is going to go closer and closer to the edge as I get closer to the crotch. So that's the front side, so now we'll turn it over and do the back side as well. I do not cut any of the excess until the end, and I've tried it on for the last time and I'm happy with everything. You can always take a seam out, but cutting too much off would be a disaster. Okay, now add that 1-inch tapered test stitch on the inside leg seams. And the reason I call it a test stitch is because I may have to go in a bit more than an inch later, but it's not so much that I'll have to take the stitch apart. I'd much rather sew again than have to use my seam ripper. That's just me. And at this point, I'm tapering the seam up to about the knees. You may have to go all the way up to the crotch, but it just depends on how you want them to fit and how wide they were to start off with. After doing the first leg, I'll lay the two legs together and add a pin where I started and ended the seam for the first leg to make sure I take them in the same amount for both legs. Then I'll do the second leg, making sure once again to backstitch at the beginning. In general, you'll want to backstitch in any area where the stretching of the seams may cause the seam to open or separate while you're wearing it. Now I can try them on again. So I think they're coming along okay, but let's work on the outside of the legs now. In general, when slimming the legs of pants, you want to take away the same amount from both the inner leg seam and the outer leg seam, especially when there's a middle seam going down the leg. Otherwise, everything may turn out lopsided. So now I can pull the outside and figure out how much needs to be taken from that side. I'm thinking that the 1 inch is pretty good, so I'll add a pin 1 inch from the outside of the stripes. I'm not going to pinch and pin the sides together because that's not how I'm going to sew this side together. What we're actually going to do is pinch and fold each side next to the stripes so that the pin is lined up with the edge of the outside stripe. Okay, so at the sewing machine, I'll begin to sew along the edge of the stripe. I know where the edge of the stripe is because that white stitch is where the edge of the stripe is sewn to the pants, so I just follow the white stitch. Okay, before I finish, I'll check to make sure it's looking good and that I'm staying next to the stripe. Okay, so it's looking pretty good, so I'll keep going. As I sew, I'm going to once again taper it as I go. To do that, I'm going to gradually fold the fabric under closer to the stripe as I get closer to where I want to end. And you'll want to end about the same places where you ended for the inner leg seams, which for me is about the knee area. Like I said, for you, that may be all the way up to the crotch, but it's just about how you want the pants to fit. Okay, so let's see how it turned out. You can see that right at the very end, I got a bit too close to the stripe, but it's pretty good overall. Okay, so now I'll do the other side of the stripe on that same leg. In order to make sure I can see that white stitch to stay close to the stripe, I'm going to sew the pants leg on the right side of the needle. Sewing this way may be a little awkward, but it keeps everything straight. Alright, it has its imperfections, but it's pretty good. So this is what it's looking like, and I'm pleased, but I think I want to take it in a bit more from the ankle to the knee. So I'll add a pin where I want to stop and take it back to the sewing machine. I'm just going to go in about another ½ inch up to where I put the pin. And try them on for the last time, I hope. Once you try them on and you're happy with them, then you can finally cut the excess off. And because we're working on stretchy material, we don't have to worry about the edge of the fabric raveling. So don't worry about serging the edges if you don't have a serger. And that's it. I also did this pair of Adidas and also these with the stripes in the front. For these, you can just take both sides of the leg in like we did the inner leg seam in this tutorial. So here's a few ways that I styled my Adidas leggings and these track pants. If you enjoyed this, please give this video a thumbs up because I really don't know if comments are working again or not at this point. And definitely join my Team Renegade members only group by hitting that join button down below and you'll get more exclusive videos just like this one. Alright, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.